Hi there, it's Linda here. Thanks for joining me today as I play with the gorgeous Dahlia Turnabout Stamp Set from Concord and 9th. So first of all, when you're using one of these Turnabout stamp sets, you need to create what Concord and 9th call a jig. So this is just a scrap piece of card and I'm cutting my jig to be 5 inches by 5 inches. Once I've got that cut, I will grab my ruler and pen and mark a big cross from the opposite corners on my jig. So across the diagonal like that, a big cross through the center. And this will just help when lining up your turnabout stamp set, because you do need to turn it about 4 times to get the complete image. So once my jig is made, I've put numbers in the corners, as you can see, 1 through to 4. And here's my normal sized card front that I always use. Card fronts are always 15 centimeters by 10.5 centimeters. So that's the piece you see me just securing there with a little bit of tape that I will peel off later. So today I'm using some Memento Luxe and some archival Brilliance inks, which have a lovely sheen to them. And as you can see, I have placed a black cross on the flat side of my stamp as well. So it mentions that on the Concord and 9th website. You have to line up your stamp with the picture on the packaging and line up your cross and draw it on with permanent pen. And then that just helps you line it up with the jig. So I've placed the stamp down on top of the jig to get it in the right position first, which sorry I did off camera, and then I can just put my cardstock in the center, make sure that it's centered, and stamp each time, turning it about, and that way my image will work out perfectly. So onto my second color, and this is a fabulous thing to do in the MISTI because you can of course restamp it like I did for this one, just to get better coverage with my inks. And of course it's so easy just to fit it into the corner of the MISTI there to make sure that you've got it positioned perfectly each time. So I'll wipe off my stamp with my stamp chamois in between, turn it about again, and then choosing my third colour, another Brilliance ink, which is pearlescent coral this time, and stamping or inking up my stamp again and pushing it down, making sure I get good coverage. So I'll just let you watch the rest of that process now, and then I'll be back with more as soon as my stamping is all finished. Right, now all my stamping is done, and I am just trimming off about 1 millimeter, maybe a little bit more, around each edge of my stamped piece, because I just want to have a nice blue mat underneath it on my card front. So just lining up the blue cardstock that I've chosen. I think it's an odd Stampin' Up colour, and then once I've cut that blue piece, I can adhere it to my card front. And when I adhere my stamped image on top, I'll have a nice little blue mat around the outside. Now I'm using one of the sentiments from the Dahlia Turnabout Stamp Set, so that my card will say "You are amazing." So stamping the amazing first, I use my embossing buddy, the powder tool there, to make sure I don't get any stray bits, and that just helps keep it where you want it. Use my Versamark ink and a gorgeous new, well, it's new to me, embossing powder, and it's from Nuvo, and it's called Copper Blush. So it's just gorgeous. So now I'm positioning the stamp that says "You are," going through the same process, adding my embossing powder and then heating it with my heat tool, and that works beautifully over the top of those pretty colours of the dahlia. I'll just grab a little paintbrush here just to flick off a couple of little stray bits of embossing powder, and then melting it, and a little bit of heat on the back too, just to help with warping. So I've cut myself a strip of that checkered paper you can see from Authentique's Lovestruck paper pad, and I'm just going to add a little striped detail down the left hand side of my card there. I'm just cutting off the excess at the top, and then I've cut a little blue strip that matches my blue card front, the mat that you saw me stick down before, and I'll just add that little blue strip as well. It just sort of ties everything in and just gives a little bit of a different design. It's nice to try something different. So cutting off the excess, and then it'll be a matter of sticking that to my card front, embellishing it with some sweet sparkly enamel dots that I have that coordinated nicely, and my card will be complete.